What is up, everyone? Welcome back to the Engineers That Filters podcast, episode 161. I'm your host, Jacob Thompson, and tonight I am drinking Oh Scheisse, which is a beer I have. It's a German Oktoberfest kind of style beer that I got from my friend Lissa. I'm excited to drink it. I have no idea what it's going to taste like. But Dayton, I figured you'd like the name.
Scheisse.
Mm-hmm. That was close enough.
I'm Joseph, and I'm drinking Neon Beer Hug, and it's got a bear with glasses,
Ooh.
and he's kind of cute. And
Nice.
is a reference that in this group of five, only Gabe would probably remember. Freshman year, Joe had his party shirt.
Oh, like
Or
the
is
first
it-
day we met him.
Yeah, he had
Yeah.
it's a bear holding like a red Solo cup, but I saw this and it reminded me of that. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna buy that beer.
For Joe.
Yeah.
Shout out to Joe.
Love it.
It's how he lets people know he's a fun guy.
Yeah.
And that was what he told us.
Just unlocked like a memory. I just like processed away.
He's getting married soon. It's
I
crazy.
know,
He
it's
is.
crazy. Well, I'm Gabe. I am out of beer, and I didn't get any today, so I made a G&T. It looks like water, but I promise you, it is quite strong.
Okay.
Um,
That's a
Look,
little
look at his
suspect. It's not
eyes.
very
Look at his
fizzy.
eyes. Look at his eyes. They're already glassed over.
This dude is checked out.
No, okay. There was the two little ice cubes, and I had the little lime in it, but it got warm, it melted. I took the lime out,
Alright,
So
okay.
you just have to
We'll see.
trust me.
We'll see how you act over the course of the episode here.
Just slam it
Obnoxious
right
as
now.
usual.
All right. And then, I wouldn't be following Cider Boy if I weren't drinking a hard cider right now.
Fuck you, dude.
Oh, it's a classic. It's an Angry Orchard.
Yeah, I got it for
My God.
free. I got it for free because it was remnants from the squeeze.
Mm.
Which one
Okay.
is it? Is that a Granny Smith?
Green apple.
Okay.
It doesn't
I was-
taste very good. I'm gonna be real.
No, those never do. I
Yeah.
feel like
Yeah.
the first sip is the best part, and then it just gets worse.
Mhm.
So if you're saying that after the first sip, it'd be a long up drink.
Yeah, it's only 12 ounces.
Knock it out.
Yep.
And also joining us tonight, we have a very special guest. You might remember him from the very first Bullshit Bracket. It's Sean Smith. Sean, how you doing tonight?
Hello. Doing good. I'm drinking a Sapporo tonight.
Oh, man of
very nice.
taste.
Fancy.
Love to see it. Sean is here to talk to us about his journey on the Appalachian Trail, but we'll get to that in a little bit here. Welcome back to the podcast, everyone. Of course, this is the Engineers That Filter podcast. Right now, we are posting monthly. However, that might change soon. I don't want to commit yet. Next episode, we'll say for sure what we're doing. But monthly right now on the first Monday of every month on podcast services and YouTube. If you like our show, tell your friends about it. Follow us on social media and stuff. All the links are in the description below. But yeah, let's jump into it. We're gonna do a quick round robin as we do. Just a little quick update. See how everyone's doing. Let's go to Dayton first. Dayton, if you're watching the video, you can see Dayton's in a new environment here.
Yep.
Dayton, what's going on with you?
Yep. So big moves for me, physically. So I finally moved out of my parents' place.
About
got-
damn time.
Fucking freeloader. Degenerate.
Yeah, it's nice. Living on my own now again, which is pretty cool. Got a new job. So I'm working for an aerospace company now, which is pretty cool. Liking it so far. I've only been working for like 2 weeks, but yeah, happy to have some structure in my life. Nice.
Love to hear it. I'll go next just because I saw Dayton recently for the, what year was it? The 28th or something annual?
Yeah, I don't know.
They've been doing it a long time. The annual Pax Farm cider squeeze
Mm-hmm.
went up there, and also Max and Kenzie came over as well, which is fun to see them. Yeah, I always forget how much I like being around Max because I feel like he's the person I can make laugh the easiest. Because you just say some dumb shit and he'll laugh, you know. But had to deal with Dayton being addicted to Pokemon Go, and Max and Kenzie going around doing raids and shit, and I'm just like, all right, this is what we're doing. But no, it was a fun time. Drink a lot of cider, put in some hours on the machine.
Hmm.
Me, Max, Kenzie were holding that baby down for like the final 3 hours.
Hey, I
Yeah,
was
for a
right
bunch
there
of
with you.
Okay, you were around, Dayton. You were do a little bit, then talk to some people, then do a little more, then drink some whiskey. All right, me, Max, and Kenzie were on the machine.
No,
okay?
towards the end, dude, I was cranking.
Okay, all right, that's not how I remember it. But
Huh.
no, it was a good time. It was good to see everyone, see the PAX family. Yeah, definitely want to try to go again next year if I can. Joseph, what's going on with you? Any new updates for you?
Biggest thing, I actually spent last weekend in Houghton.
Oh yeah,
Hanging out with our friend Cece, and I met up with Josh as well. That was a blast. Got to show Alyssa around the old college stomping grounds, you know.
this is where I
Uh,
peaked.
Oh no.
We drove past O House, got to show her, you know,
Mhm.
that kind of some of the routes. We went to the Dog, which was a top tier time. We before we left, I had Alyssa describe what she thought the Dog, or was that to you guys off the podcast that we talked about that?
No.
I don't think so.
No.
Okay, well maybe it was with Tim or Cooper or something. But anyway, she described what she thought the Dog looked like, and she perfectly described the club instead.
Oh.
And I was like, "Oh baby, you're in for a treat." And we walk in, and there's the sign for the $2 Miller High Life.
Yep.
It's up to $2.25 now.
Yeah.
Damn inflation.
And yeah, I know. And we spent like 4 hours sitting at the bar with Cece,
Wow.
because she knew one of the bartenders. So we hung out there all the one night. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. We did all the like classic Houghton things. Went up to Copper Harbor, drove around Brockway Mountain, Red Ridge, Frida, Breakers. Alyssa could not believe anytime we got the bill for something, she's like, "That's it?" And I was like, "Yeah, it's about right." And she goes, "Oh my god, you went to college here?" I'm like, "Yeah, it was awesome."
Yeah,
We
God, it was
got
so nice.
we got like the tab at the end of the night, and for the 3 of us, it was like $70
Oh
after
man.
like after like
That's pretty
4 or
good.
5 hours of drinking at the bar. And she looks at us and goes, "What the fuck?" And I'm like, "Yeah, this is where we went to drink. These are like $3 a piece, man. Like, what do you?"
So good.
So that was a lot of fun. I bought a new snowboard, new to me snowboard yesterday, from one of my coworkers. He had a friend who rode it 5 times,
Mm.
5 runs, and quit. He said, "I hate this snowboard. I'm never riding it again." Went to the bar and he left it with my coworker. So it's this really fucking weird board, but I've been in the market for a new one. It's 165 centimeters tall, which is taller than pretty much any other snowboard you can buy, and it's like pretty wide at the nose and really narrow at the tail.
Hmm.
It's called the K2 Overboard, and I'm fucking stoked. This is gonna be like just a shitty like pain in the ass to ride, but once I get the hang of it, it's gonna be fun as fuck.
Sounds
so.
like it's gonna be a missile.
Yeah.
Sounds what it sounds like.
I think
It's
we're
like
gonna be
very-
going.
very stable at high speeds, but a pain in the ass to turn. That's what I'm
Yeah.
hearing.
Yeah, it's like you cannot turn with your back foot. You're turning with your front foot, and
I believe
it wants to go fast. And I'm like, that's exactly what I want.
So
I
you
think
can
we're
crash
going
into more
overboard a few
trees.
times.
Just be a terror to like some kids.
Yeah. So yeah.
Well, nice. Well, okay. Before we move on to Gabe, I have a grievance with you, Joseph. Okay.
Oh god.
And I meant to bring this up off the podcast, but we're doing it now. All right. I'm gonna say. I know you were
Why are you calling
traveling.
so many
Oh
people
my
out. You didn't call
gosh.
me out when
Look.
I do
Oh
my
my
category.
gosh.
I know you were traveling, but I sent you a text
Oh
recently,
fuck.
and you never responded. Okay, I sent you a video of one of the greatest works of all time, works of art of all time, and you never responded. And
You
I'm
are
a little bit,
correct.
I'm a little bit upset about it.
because let's see, when was this? This was on Friday. So I was driving. What was I doing Friday? I was driving up to Copper Harbor on Friday. So did not have service when you sent it to me. And then I was hanging out, busy, and I was trying to I know it's a Brian David Gilbert video. I saw that. I was like, okay, I need to be in the right mood, have the right, the right ambiance going. And I haven't had that yet. So I
Okay.
haven't had the opportunity.
Do you know what it
to
is?
look.
Do you know what it is?
It's a music. Yeah, it's the same like music videos that he did last year.
Yeah, okay. I just
Or it's
want
another one.
PSA to people, because I talked about this last year. I need to talk about it again. I'm not a Halloween guy, okay? I don't give a shit about Halloween. But one thing I do care about is Brian David Gilbert's Halloween parody songs. Last year, he did a Halloween ABBA cover album called ABBA, okay, where he parodied ABBA songs sung by Halloween characters, and it was very funny. This year, he did the Bee Gees, 2 songs by the Bee Gees. And the album is called BDG's He Be Bee Gees. All right. And I tell you what, these two, the videos in particular, are fucking hilarious. All right. So if you just give them a watch, if you like horror / Halloween comedy stuff. But anyway, I was like, I remember later you were out of town. I'm like, okay, it's fine. But I was like, man, how did he not respond to this? Like, this is pure Joseph content right here.
I know. I'll probably watch it tonight or tomorrow.
Fantastic. All right. Back to you, Gabe. How you doing?
Hey, hello. Please don't call me out for something.
I got nothing for you.
Okay, good. I haven't really done anything like out of the ordinary. I guess I did a couple. I went up to Duluth, saw some fall colors, rode some bike with a buddy. Went to Cuyuna, rode my bike with a buddy, and then I guess I did go to Marquette with a coworker. He also experienced reverse sticker shock, is what I'm calling it. We went to Black Rocks, which is probably my favorite brewery in Marquette. And I think their draft beers are like $3.50 on the cheap end and $4 for the nicer ones. And it's just so funny, it breaks their brain how cheap it is. But that was cool. I had a good excuse to go up there. His brother was actually in that Lake Superior Performance Rally, like racing. So got to go up there and hang out with our buddy Josh, friend of the podcast, and go around, just kind of tour around, do some drinking, do some hiking, get some fall color views. And that was actually, it was a little bit past peak, but it was still like super cool. I mean,
yeah,
it's going to be better than anything in the cities, but yeah, just a lot of biking and hiking. Big surprise.
Classic Gabe content right there.
I'm about 2 months into my new job. The shine of the job is gone, but my ability to do the job is not. It's not there yet. So I still know what the fuck I'm doing. So that's been taking up a lot of my mental energy, is trying to figure out how to do a whole new job and fight off the imposter syndrome. So
sure, that's very understandable.
Can I?
Joseph.
Yeah.
Are you roasting me now?
No,
I'm just waiting.
You mentioning Black Rocks reminded me something that I think you guys would find interesting. So stopped at the KBC, obviously.
Got to do it.
One, not as surprising, $3.50 for a beer now, which saw it coming. You know, it happens. They halved the percentage of Point Trail.
Cece told me that.
Yeah, so it's like
Why?
4.8% or something like that now.
You said it tastes really bad now too.
Yeah, I had one and I didn't realize it was lower percentage. I was like, man, this tastes like shit. Like, I remember, like it wasn't like good,
but
it was a good value. Is what it was.
Yeah, but now it's not even a good value. You can't
It's
even
so
get
disappointing.
sloshed off 3 beers and spend $9.
Dude, that was the first story I told him. I was like, yeah, the first brewery I ever went to, I'd get like drunk off my ass for $9, get 3 drinks.
God, that's sad. I wonder why they did it. I wonder if it was like a cost saving measure or just, I don't know.
Probably because college kids were getting hammered. And it's like
Such a bummer.
Well, because Soft Parade, when it first got released, it was a much higher percentage than it is now. They had to reduce it for the same reason. It was too easy to drink.
I mean,
too
it's
much.
still high. It's still like high enough.
Well, that's the thing. Is it's like 7 or something.
Yeah, it's like
right
6 or
now.
7.
It was like 10, I think, before,
Good lord.
and like didn't taste any different. So you
That's
could just
incredible.
throw them back.
Right.
Anyway, we
Yeah.
can continue.
Oh yeah. So yeah, that's our quick little update. But now it's time for the main event here because I want to get Sean involved here. So Sean, this year you completed the Appalachian Trail, which is an insane feat. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Looking at your Instagram, it seems like it took about 5-6 months. Is that
Yeah,
right?
it took me like 5.5-ish. So yeah.
Cool. So first thing I want to ask you is like, what led up to this decision? Why did you decide to do it? All that.
I like kind of had it in like the back of my head for a while, like since like middle school probably. I was in scouts as a kid, and we would do like little sections of the trail for like a weekend or whatever. And I always thought it was like super cool to just be like standing on the trail and be like, oh, if I walk that way, I'll end up in Maine, or if I turn around, I'll end up like in Georgia eventually. So that's like kind of where the idea started. And probably like COVID, I was like kind of realizing I was at a point in my job where I was kind of like just plateauing of like what I was learning, and I could see people, like kind of doing the same thing I was, but had been with the company like 5 years longer. So I was like, now's not a bad time. And then I realized like, I'm 25 and I could stay on my parents' health insurance for another year. In case anything goes wrong, I'll be fine. So yeah, I figured now's a good time. Don't have like a car or a house or kids or anything crazy. So, and most people that do the trail are like our age or like 65 and retired. So
Right. And like, what was your backpacking experience before this? Did you feel prepared when you were like going in?
Yeah, pretty much just like weekend trips. Like nothing more than like 2 nights. And just did like a handful of like shakedown hikes, like the fall and beforehand. But nothing crazy, that's for sure.
Okay. So yeah, so were you scared then when you like did you I guess did you go in thinking you were gonna finish it, or were you like, I'll bail if I need to? What was your kind of headspace?
I was figuring I would finish it, but I was texting Dayton like the morning or either the morning before or the night before or whatever. And I was like, I am shitting bricks. Super nervous. And like it was weird. Like in my head, it was like, start tomorrow, got to get to Maine like tomorrow. And that's like not how it works at all. And after like 4 or 5 days, and you kind of get in the groove of things, and you're like, oh, okay, it's just like get to the next town. Like don't even worry about what's coming. Just like get to the next town is the constant goal.
Right.
Did you hike? Sorry, continue what you were saying.
Just after the first like week, then I kind of settled into like not
Okay.
stressing out.
Did you hike north to south or south to north?
South to north, northbound. So starting in Georgia in like the beginning of March.
Okay.
Well, I don't know if maybe this is too early, but like, what were like the high point, some of the high points, some of like the lowest points of your time on the trail?
I'll do low points first, like the beginning of the trail. And this probably isn't true, but it just stuck in my head that like the worst day was the very first day that we did. And we kind of got a later start than I originally wanted to, but it was like, I don't know, like a 2-hour drive from Atlanta, where we spent the night before. And I had a friend in Atlanta drive me up. And then so I got started like 11:30 or whatever. And it's technically not even like the start of the trail. The start of the trail starts on top of Springer Mountain. But there's an approach trail that you have to do to go up to the top. And probably like a couple hours in, it like starts raining and it's like pretty windy. I'm like, okay, it's fine. But then like the temperature starts dropping, and like eventually it's just like 37 and like sideways freezing rain, and I'm like can't feel my fingers and stuff. And I like finally get to the top, and it's like, all right, I gotta set my tent up. And it's like, just like shit, like trying to hurry up and get into my sleeping bag like as quickly as possible. And then like once got set up into the sleeping bag, nice and in dry clothes and everything, food in the like food storage area. I realized that I forgot like a bag of peanuts like in my in one of my pockets. But was
Mhm.
like, screw it, like I'm not going back out there.
Mhm.
I'm just gonna like shove it deep down into my pack and like not worry about it. Like double Ziploc bag it. And then sure enough, I wake up like the next day and a little mouse had like already chewed through my pack.
Oh.
Peanuts. And I was just like, God damn it. It's like still raining. It's like, oh, gotta start hiking.
This was day one.
Yeah, I was
I would have been like, I'm gonna give up and I'm gonna try again in a week. Like, that is insane.
Definitely-
Dude.
definitely was just like laying there like, oh man, this sucks. Like because it's like, again, day one, you're like, am I cut out for this? Like this is like
Yeah.
it's kind of a big thing, and I don't know, this kind of sucks already. But I mean, the first like month was just a bunch of rain. And that the weather we had was not too bad for sure.
Were you,
then,
were,
like,
you,
high
sorry, were you
point-
alone for the first part?
My girlfriend did the first like 350 with me. And then I had a buddy from college. I don't think you guys knew him. He was a couple years older than us. But he basically joined me when she got off, more or less, and then did like up to the halfway point with me. And I got off for a wedding, and then got back on. So did like the second half alone, in quotes, because like you meet so many other hikers and stuff that you're never like really
Right.
alone, kind of thing.
Okay.
So
But, like,
Yeah, go ahead.
okay, I was
no,
just
no,
gonna.
I was gonna go to the high point.
Well, I wanted to. Okay, never mind. This will fit in later.
No, no,
This
no.
will fit in later. Continue.
Okay, I was just gonna say, like, the first thing I think about, like the high point would be in the Whites, which Dayton's
Mhm.
more familiar than I am.
Yeah.
I think it took me like 6 days to get through the Whites, and like 5 of them were just like absolutely gorgeous, like weather-wise, and they're known for like crazy weather.
Shitty, crazy weather. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So like getting like 5 days of just like clear skies and sunny,
Unheard
super
of.
nice, and like not even, yeah, exactly, like not even that windy. Had a fun day on Mount Washington though, so.
Mhm.
Awesome.
That's where we met a guy who almost dropped out, right, Dayton? That dude was like, he was hurting.
Ooh.
If I'm remembering right, I know we met somebody who was doing the trail, and I don't know, he seemed less than optimistic.
We
so-
didn't hike Mount Washington. I don't think, Jacob.
No,
if
but I know we ran into a guy who was doing it.
Yeah. Oh, that was on Wildcat. That was on the ascent to Wildcat D Peak. Yeah, he was like this French dude who so Sean, you'll know this term. He was yellow blazing. And for yellow blazing is just like essentially like you're hiking sometimes, other times you're like taking buses to like different like trailheads, or you're getting like rides. Like you're not actually hiking all the miles. You're just like hopping on the trail at different points. So yeah, he had been hiking for like, I don't know, a while, and just going like hostel to hostel, not really hiking that much. But yeah, he was pretty like dejected on that ascent, which the ascent to Wildcat D Peak is pretty brutal. But
I
Yeah.
can't confirm.
Was he going northbound?
yeah, he was going northbound. Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, Dayton, you had a question you wanted to ask?
Oh yeah. So I'll say it's very common for thru hikers to get trail names. So Sean, would you enlighten us with your trail name, please?
My trail name was Shaggy. But I didn't get it until I didn't get it until about like halfway in. Most people get it within the first like week, I'd say.
Mhm.
But kind of like right at the halfway point, there's a store that sells like half gallons of ice cream. So there's a whole bunch of challenges throughout the hike, and one's the half gallon challenge. So then me and another probably like 8 through hikers were there at the same time. And I just like happened to be the one that finished first. So trying to think of a character that like I sort of resemble maybe, but also can like, you know, Scooby and Shaggy eat like 12 cheeseburgers in one bite kind of thing.
Like a sandwich that's this tall. and
Yeah.
it's your jaw.
So that's what they were trying to get at.
Yeah, Sean, because I know that when when I was doing the Vermont section, I think that you still had not gotten your trail name yet at that point. And then towards the end of it, I think you did. Like you got it like while I was hiking. I
That's
think.
probably about right. Yeah, because you were a ways ahead of me, or like further north than
Yeah.
where I was
Yeah.
in July or whatever.
hmm Yeah, I was surprised that
curious
it
about
took you
these-
so long.
Yeah, it just like nothing like really like happened or were like super interesting, I guess, like
Uh-huh.
compared to other people get it like I don't know, 2 days in.
hmm
The best like uh idea someone had up to that point was like Shaun of the Jungle. He just like pulled it out of his ass basically. And was just like
Mhm.
that's weird, but
Yeah,
okay.
you're like, nah, nah.
I don't like that one.
It is awkward when you have like people that you don't like know that well, or like somebody that you've been like hiking with for like a day, and then they're just like, oh, like what about this trail name? And they throw out something like you're like, I hate that, but like you can't like tell them that you hate that. I had
You're like,
one
you're not
lady.
close enough friends.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, like
yeah.
yeah, like you can't be like real with them, so you gotta be like, yeah, I'll think about it.
Try that one out.
I mean, can't you just like be like, oh yeah, sure, and then wait till you're not with them anymore, and then when someone, what's your show name? I don't have one yet.
Yeah.
still looking.
I do know a couple people that were like that. Yeah, they're like, well, I was something poop related, and I'm not going by that anymore.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm not introducing myself as that, so
My old friends called me shit stain.
Trying to get away from that one.
It's not good for my brand.
So you mentioned trail traditions. What are some of these traditions?
Oh man. There's a bunch of like challenges and traditions, I'd say. One is I didn't do all of these, but one's like the 4-state challenge where you start in Virginia, on like the border of Virginia and West Virginia, and you gotta hike through, or you start in Virginia, hike through West Virginia, hike through Maryland, and then sleep in PA, like a half mile as a campsite. And that's like 42, 43 miles or so. There's like the Connecticut challenge, which is like similar.
Mhm.
That's really hard, I would think. That's like 54 or something miles or something like that.
Yeah.
If you did one day.
Yeah, or within 24 hours, however you want to cut it.
Oh my
but
god.
yeah, so my friend and I did the 4-state challenge, and I was like hiking from like 4 a.m. to like 11:30 at night, and I was just dead tired at that.
Jesus Christ.
fuck
But you've been hiking for like 2 months or so at this point, so it sounds crazy, but it's doable, but still
Your
kinda
body's
crazy.
used to it, but
Mhm.
get you.
I didn't do this one because I know I couldn't do it, but Massachusetts, where you only take 2 shits the whole course of Massachusetts.
Oh no.
Yeah, I definitely couldn't
Like,
pull that.
Oh
just
my
great
gosh.
coffee in Massachusetts.
How many days would that be?
Massachusetts like 90 miles, so
Oh
however
my god.
we can get through it. Probably 4 or 5 days for if you're going northbound at that point.
Mhm.
But still, I'm more regular than that. So,
Oh my god.
um, there's some weird like food ones where you carry out like 20 RB sandwiches or something like that. I don't know. I didn't do that one. Those are the ones that come to mind at least. Those are kind of the big ones, the half-gallon challenge. We talked
Mhm.
about.
How do
But-
you find out? Do you just like talk to people, or is there like a website, or like, yeah, how does like information travel on the trail?
Oh, that's an interesting
Very
question,
Um,
actually.
Pretty much, mostly word of mouth, I would say.
Uh-huh.
Or there's like an app that a lot of through hikers have, called Far Out, and it's got like every like point of interest has like a little pin on it, and there's a comment section on every point of interest, which is really nice because then it'd be like, oh, I'm coming up to this water source in like a mile. Let me check Far Out, check the comments, and then people will be like, there's no fucking water here, or
Mhm.
there's plenty of water.
Yep.
But sometimes, in that, people will say like different challenges, or I found out about some just like reading the Reddit page before starting the hike,
Mhm.
or just like word of mouth, like, hey, you guys doing the half-gallon challenge when we get there tomorrow or whatever.
Mhm,
Mhm.
mhm.
I'm gonna add that it's also from what I experienced, that it's not just people who are through hiking like in like one season that are on the trail. A lot of the times it's like section hikers that are doing it, like they can only go out for like 2 weeks a year. And then, you run into those people, and then they'll like talk to you about this stuff, or you'll even run into like people going the opposite direction than you, and they might pass on some info too. So it's not just like people that are starting at the same time as you that you're with.
Does gossip travel on the trail?
Oh yeah.
Like,
oh yeah, it
do you ever
does.
Yeah.
show up and
Yeah.
like, oh hey, I'm Shaggy. Like, oh, we know about you. We heard about you from some other guys.
There are definitely people I'd heard about before I met, and was just like, oh, okay, like I haven't heard good things about this dude. Like, I'm just gonna stay away from him, kind of thing. But yeah,
There
What's
was
your experience with that, Dayton?
there was one guy that I was well, so it was actually kind of interesting because I had, let's see, I'm trying to think of how this worked out. So I knew that somebody that I was hiking with, was friends with, was like a few days like either ahead of me or a few days behind me. And then I just kind of like started like asking people if they like seen this person, and they're like, "Oh yeah, like last I saw him it was like a week ago, and they were like, in Massachusetts or something like that." So I was like, "Okay, well, seems like I'm probably getting pretty close." So I ended up finding them, except then, I ended up kind of like gossiping to them, if you want to call it gossiping. And I was like, "Oh, like I just ran into your friend, like I was just hiking with them, like he's so cool." And then she was like, "Oh, like no way, like how far back is he?" And I was like, "Oh, like just like a day behind." And then we ended up like meeting, and then once they got together, like they hadn't seen each other in like 3 months, and then them just like spewing all these different like trail names about like people that they'd like seen and like never want to see again, or like people just doing like absolutely wacky shit. Like Sean, I don't know if you ever heard about this guy, and I can't remember his trail name right now, but he taped 1 liter smart water bottles onto his trekking poles.
I heard about this guy.
yeah. I actually like talked with him like quite a bit, and he was kind of a weird guy, but like weird in like a good way, like just kind of wacky.
Yeah, they all
But
are.
they all are. That is very true. But yeah, gossip definitely does travel on trail. And some of it's good and some of it's bad. I would say more often than not, though, like if your name is getting like spread around, it's probably about like negative shit for the most part. Like if you hear it from multiple sources. There was one guy. Oh, it was some Egyptian name. That was his trail name, and he was yellow blazing. Oh, I can't remember his name either. But yeah, he was like going around like harassing women and shit like that, and like just like blatantly lying. So his name got passed around a lot. But yeah, gossip is real. But honestly, I think it's for the best on trail.
I was gonna say, like, it's not because it's kind of a dangerous situation, or it can be a
Right.
dangerous situation.
Right.
You're not going to be able to get a lot of help in a lot of cases. So
Mhm.
it's probably good that people are warned about certain things.
Exactly.
Are yellow blazers kind of looked down upon?
Oh yeah, I would say so. Well, it's like if you're yellow blazing claiming that you're not, then it's like you get kind of shit on. But I feel like if you're just like yellow blazing because that's like what you can do, and like you're open about it, and you're not saying like, "Oh yeah, I'm hiking the entire Appalachian Trail," like people aren't gonna like, I don't know,
Sure.
look down. I feel like most wouldn't. Maybe some like elitists would, but
That's accurate.
That makes sense. Okay. Was there a time when you thought about dropping out of the trail and quitting?
Besides the first night.
Yeah, besides the first night. Oh, the second night, no. Now I'm about like dropping out of the trail. There was like one time in New York where I thought about yellow blazing basically. Because I was just like, I was trying to do like a bigger day and was just like not keeping the pace I needed to, and I was just like getting hit with these just like super steep ups and downs that were just like rocky and like just could not like go any faster basically. And then there was some dude like at this road crossing giving out like Gatorades to people. He's like, yeah, if you just and there's like a little bit of a roadblock before you kind of go back into the woods. He's like, yeah, if you just keep going straight, like you'll cut off, I don't know, however many miles, and because you'll eventually get back on this road again. And I was like, man, like last thing I want to do is keep doing like these ups and downs. And if I could just like walk on some flat ground for a while, like that'd be sweet. But eventually said like screw it, like I've gone however far without yellow blazing. I'm not gonna
Mm-hmm.
start now, kind of thing.
Yep.
You resisted the temptation. So the kind of main thing I wanted to talk about and bring you on was comparing the psychology of it all with you and Dayton, and kind of like Sean, like how I don't know, like how you think you've changed, like when you started the show, from when you finished it, and how you feel about it now or experience that. Then also with Dayton, you talked about on an episode a few
Mm-hmm.
months ago about how your perceptions have kind of changed about backpacking and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So actually, did you want to like reiterate that first and then?
Yeah, so I'll say kind of similar to how like Sean's like first day went. Mine wasn't even like bad weather related. Well, it was like the third day that it really hit for me. Um, but definitely like the weather like played like a factor. But like the first like 2 days I was like hiking alone and I was just like cruising because like that's what I do when I'm alone. I just go fast and I like don't talk to anybody and I'm just like have like my blinders up. Yeah, and then I like 3 days in, I had like I like to refer to it as like a mental breakdown where I was just like, fuck this, like why am I doing this? What are my motivations? I'm not enjoying this. It's in like what I found, what like made it really hard for me was like I thought that it was going to be a lot more physically challenging than it was for me. Um, and that kind of like threw me for a loop as well. Cause like if I'm not like working hard enough, then like I have like a hard time like zoning out. Um, so I ended up, changing plans and everything. But yeah, like the first few days were rough, and then it kind of led to me realizing that I don't think that through hiking is like my like ultimate like goal for backpacking anymore, whereas I once thought that it was.
Yeah, and then yeah, Sean, if you can relate to any of that, and also yeah, I'm just curious, like when you finished the trail, how did you feel about the whole experience, and do you feel like you were a changed man uh, after 6 months almost of doing it?
Yeah, like going off of what Dayton said first, like most of it isn't too like physically challenging at least. Like probably the first like month for me at least was more challenging just because I was kind of out of shape when I first started and not used to walking, 20 miles a day. But then, I mean, besides the whites were more physically exerting. That's just how the whites are. But then you definitely kind of get just kind of used to just kind of wake up and walking all day. And then it really turns more, yeah, into like a mental, like physical or psychological game for sure. Because then, yeah, you're just like, why am I doing this? Am I still? Is it kind of what you thought it would be? Is it still fun? Kind of all those questions. But for me, I just kind of liked, you know, the people I was with for the first bit, which kind of definitely helped, like having a little support kind of group, especially right at the beginning. So I was going through that first day alone, I probably would have quit. But yeah, but then just kind of as you go, it's just more of a mental challenge. And like I remember even towards the end, like I got into Maine, and I was like, all right, cool. Like went from Georgia to Maine, but I've got like 300 miles left, and it was just kind of like being a party pooper. It was just like not like as excited as I would have thought I would have been. But what was the rest of your question? Sorry.
Well, yeah, it's like how'd you like? Yeah, do you feel like you changed after you finished, like from when you started to when you finished? Like looking back on it, how do you feel about the trip?
Yeah, I would say like I'm probably like a patient person beforehand, but now like if I get caught like in the rain or like I'm stuck in traffic or like normal like minor inconveniences now, I'm just kind of like whatever. Like it's rained worse. I've been colder. Been more miserable than this. Like I can go home and I can shower, I can change, I can sleep in a dry, warm bed tonight. So I don't have to worry about like the basics. Or like I don't know. I was driving around like in Jersey before going to the trail, so like everyone's out there to kill you. But now like just driving in traffic, I'm like, all right, like that dude just being an idiot, but it's not gonna like let it have an impact on my day, kind of thing. But I wouldn't say any like real huge changes. Didn't like stereotypically go out in the woods and find myself.
You know, it's kind of
I
funny
mean,
that you say that though, Sean, because I feel like a lot of people that I like met while I was hiking, which was an admittedly small section of the AT, a lot of the people that I met were out there to, you know, like in some way like try and, you know, like find themselves or, you know, work on some, I'll say like personal issue that they have.
Yeah, and I mean, I think for some people it can be super helpful just as like you got all day to think, basically,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
Like you can put in music and podcasts and stuff, but like you're just walking, like you're not really looking at your screen or
Mhm.
really doing anything with your hands or anything. You're just kind of just walking and thinking most of the day.
Right.
So like if you need like that time to just think or just walk and think, it's definitely a good spot to do it. I think some people though like go into it with the intent of trying to figure themselves out,
Mhm.
um, and then like not actively working on it, and then they get
mm.
to New Hampshire and Maine, or they get almost done, and they're like, oh shit, like I haven't
It
figured
didn't
anything
happen
out
how
yet.
it
Might like should probably go do another trail so I can then figure it out.
Mhm.
I definitely met a couple people that were like, you know, just have been backpacking for last 3, 4, 5 years or whatever, which is super cool. Don't get me wrong, if that's what you want to do. I think you like some people just get in the rut of like, this is all I know how to do now, so this is what I
Mhm.
do, kind of thing. Instead of like trying to figure their shit out.
Right. Yeah, I'm curious about like the psychology of the people that you met on the trip. Like, yeah, what are like the
They're
variety
all
of
crazy
people? But that makes you crazy too, Sean.
by association. Yeah. No, I mean everyone. I'm sure they could say the same, but everyone's super nice and like
Mhm.
always willing to help out or like be friendly. Start up a conversation.
Mhm.
Because again, like you don't have any cell service, you can't really distract yourself, and what you're just both gonna sit quietly while you're cooking dinner or whatever. Like probably not. So you definitely talk to a whole bunch of people while you're out there. Um, some people are weird, but like not in a dangerous way. I'd say like
Mm.
99% of through hikers are pretty chill. Even speaking with like girls that were either hiking alone or started alone, they're like, yeah, I'm more worried when I go like into town than I am
Yeah.
like on the trail itself, just because like everyone here is fine basically.
Mm. That's because, like, for the most part, like, except when you're close to town, like, it takes a little bit of effort to actually get to the trail, right? It's not like you can just, you know, drive into camp. It's not like a state park. Um, so yeah, it does take some effort to actually get out there, you know, to find these people.
Right. Yeah, and you mentioned too that it becomes a mental battle for the most of it. Like how do you keep yourself sane? Is it with like music and podcasts? Like do you distract yourself? What are you doing like in your free time? I'm curious like how you stay focused, I guess.
Um, yeah, I would probably like try to distract myself as much as I could with like I listen to podcasts majority of the time. Throw some music in just to break it up. But for me, it was just like I didn't try to think of the whole thing as like one big project. It was just like okay, like if I just get through New Jersey or get through Connecticut or whatever, kind of broke it up into smaller projects. That was a lot more doable just because it was like instead of 2,000 miles, it's 40 miles or whatever.
Right.
Or even just like, a day or two before I get to a certain town, kind of look either like on the app or I had a little book with me too. Just be like, okay, like what restaurants are in town? Like, ooh, they got Taco Bell. Like I'm going to Taco Bell when we get to town. So that would just be like, just like something like that, just to look forward to. Um, whether it's like the food in the town or
Right,
if it's like a
right.
good hostel or restaurant or whatever.
Okay. Yeah, did you that makes me wonder, like did you miss anything when you were out there? From like
Um,
creature comforts, I guess?
Yeah, like there's some stuff like sleeping like on the ground or like on my air mattress like thing was fine. Most people would think like, a bed is like what you miss most, but I definitely missed showers to a point because like just because most of the time it was the summer, so like you're just sweating all day.
Mhm.
No matter how much water you drink, you're just gonna be sweating. And even after you shower, you start hiking for like an hour,
Hmm.
you're all sweaty again, and it's like, why did I
Mhm.
even bother? But
Yeah.
just like a shower after a week of not is just like, for me, it was just always super refreshing. Um, and then I guess like definitely just like regular food instead of just like backpacking food all the time. Definitely
Yeah.
miss that. But again, kind of when you're in town, you load up on that sort of stuff.
Yeah, it's completely different from what like I missed when I was out there backpacking. Like I missed. So I'm sure a lot of I think I've talked about this many times on the podcast before, but how on like Saturday mornings, are like my day to wake up early, slam an energy drink, and just like I don't know, just get shit done. And that was the thing that I missed the most when I was hiking. Like I missed that I wasn't able to like do a whole bunch of different things. That I was like, I'm hiking, and it's like that's like what I'm doing. And it's like sure I could take a zero in town or something like that, but it's like I wouldn't be able to do all the different things that I wanted to be able to do. So I guess it was just like I guess to sum it up, like lack of variety.
Mm.
Yeah, it can get pretty like monotonous. And that's also like part of the mental battle would just be like
Mhm.
waking up every morning and you got to pack up everything you own into your pack
Mhm.
before you even start hiking. Then it's hike for 10, 12 hours or whatever. Take out everything you own, reset everything up, all back up. Cook
Mm.
your food and clean up, and then try to go to bed at a reasonable hour, and then wake up and do it all again.
Mm. Did you not so after you finished, did you have a hard time like adjusting back to like quote unquote normal life?
I would have it was a lot easier than I anticipated.
Mm.
I thought it'd be like kind of weird, but well, for the first like 2 days, I was just like glued to my phone. Because
Yeah.
I was next to an outlet and like didn't have to worry about battery life for the first time in a while.
Dopamine.
Yeah, it was just like just doom scrolling for straight. And then I realized I was like, okay, I need to stop and like put the little time limits on like the
Yep.
bad
Yep.
apps. And then but then like otherwise adjusting was like not as bad as I had thought. It was just like, okay, like so I sleep in a bed now. I shower whenever I want. I can cook whatever I want. There's definitely like certain moments where I was like, oh, like it's raining right now and I'm inside. This is super nice.
Big fan.
Yeah, big fan of houses. But yeah, like it wasn't as crazy as I had thought it could have been.
Sure. That's interesting. I don't know. I was coming with all these assumptions like, oh yeah, I bet he found himself on the trail.
I mean,
he
that's
he
what you
figured
hear
out his
about,
purpose
right?
in life. Yeah, that's what you always assume with all these things.
It
So I
definitely is
guess
like romanticized though.
yeah.
I would say, like I don't know, just like the idea of it. I guess makes and like even just like talking to people just out for like a day hike or whatever. They're like, "Whoa, like you're doing the whole thing. Like that's so inspiring." And to me, it's just like my normal like daily routine at this point.
Right. Which is kind of crazy. Like
Yeah.
like that because like you're doing something that was completely voluntary and it's a
Hmm.
massive undertaking, but you even get to the point where you're like, oh yeah, it's just my daily thing now. Like I'm used to it.
Right. And like
And
the
you
amount of
don't have to do it to survive or
pictures that
anything.
people want to take of you, like day hikers, they're like, "Oh, you're a thru hiker. Can I take your picture?" I'm like, kind of weird. I want to go to your job and ask for your picture, but um,
So what's next? I mean that's probably a bad way to frame, but like do you want to do another through hike? Do you want to do it again? Like what's your opinions about through hiking now after this?
I would probably do a different trail if I were to do another through hike, but that's probably not in the cards for at least a couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
Gotta find a real job and make some real money again.
Yeah. If you don't mind me asking, how much did it cost to like do the whole thing?
Um,
Or roughly?
yeah, like a rough rule of thumb, people say is like 1,000 a month to plan for while you're on the trail. That was probably about right. Probably like 1,000, 1,200 a month because like your biggest expense is food normally. Um,
Mm-hmm.
or like whenever you go into town, you want to stay, at a hostel or a motel or whatever, that can add up. So I'd probably stay in town like once a week. But otherwise, like food is really like your biggest and more or less only expense. And then I probably spent maybe like 1,000, 1,500 on like gear beforehand. So I definitely like take that into consideration
Right.
too.
Right. So that's pretty cheap living.
Yeah. If you think about it, like 5 months, 6 months of living off of $6,000 or whatever, isn't super expensive.
So
And a lot of
I
people do
know-
it. Oh, sorry, Joseph.
I guess kind of related, but like, so I know with the PCT, there's a lot of environmental changes, and I assume it's not as drastic with the AT, where like they'll have drops where it's like, all right, we're going into the mountains. I need like mountain shoes. We're in the desert. I had my desert shoes. Did you like have any like gear swaps, or like, fuck, my rain jacket or my shoes blew out? Like, is that like something that, I mean, obviously it happens, but like, did you have any like major gear drops, I would say, that you needed?
Yeah, like AT is not as crazy as like the PCT or other trails. But I swapped out like my sleeping bag and like my sleeping pad after the first probably like month and a half, 2 months. Just because like kind of starting like in March, you can still get like some snow, and when you go through the Smokies, which is towards the beginning, you can get like some snow as well. So it can drop below freezing. So I started with like a 15-degree bag. But then kind of as it warmed up, I was like, I don't need this heavy warm bag anymore. I'll just swap it out with something lighter. Same thing with my sleeping pad. Just got something lighter and a little bit more thick so I could sleep more comfortably at night. But otherwise, I did swap out my pack itself. Kind of like once I was sending stuff home, I had like a bigger pack, so I wasn't like filling it all the way, and it didn't have a frame to it either. So like if you didn't pack it right, it would like kind of not feel right and sit weird on your back. So then I just kind of downgraded and got a different smaller pack about halfway through, and then that was super nice the rest of the way because it fit everything I need and wasn't all weird when I put it on. But other than that, like probably just swap shoes out every like 700 or 800 miles. But more or less kept the same stuff.
I
So
remember
what was
being.
your base weight?
Oh my gosh, Joseph.
The question was gonna come, all right?
I've been sitting on it for, what is this, 53 minutes? On Audacity at least.
It's definitely not the right answer. Especially when I started, it was probably closer to like 20-ish pounds. But then once I kind of sent stuff home, it was probably closer to like, I don't know, like 15 pounds. But I've already started like shopping around and looking around for a whole different setup. Trying to get that sub 10 base pound or
Base
what's it
weight.
called? Base weight, thank you. But yeah, I mean, I kind of got to the point where it's just like, what I'm carrying is what I'm carrying. I'm not carrying like 45 pounds like some
Yeah.
people I met, So,
Wait, did you meet the guy that was carrying a log?
I never met the log guy.
Okay.
Did you meet him? Because he was ahead of me, I'm pretty sure.
No, I never did meet him. I know that he was nearby me though.
Probably.
Yeah, because I think he was raising money for the Wounded Warrior Project. I think.
I believe so. Yeah, I know he's a veteran, and he's carrying a 20-pound log for fun.
Good lord.
Did you meet Leaf Blower?
No.
He was also ahead of me.
No.
Some dude carrying a leaf blower.
There's always just like wacky people like that.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of any other wacky people that I met or heard about. There was one guy who was only hiking in like a Speedo, and then he carried all of his stuff in plastic bags as well.
God.
Why?
That's ridiculous.
The ultimate ultralight.
Yeah, super ultra light.
These
You don't
guys,
need a
they have
pack,
to
you need
be
a plastic bag.
that'd be like this has to be like their second or third time, right? That can't be like your first time you're doing that kind of shit,
Dude,
right? Or
bruh, I don't
I would
fucking
hope
know.
not.
I don't know.
Oh my god.
They
Yeah, I was
just
wondering.
they got on r/ultralight jerk and just went just go head first.
Yeah.
Gotta have as little stuff as possible.
Hmm. Yeah, I was wondering, Dayton, if you had any like gear questions because you're a gearhead.
Oh, no, I mean I saw Sean's gear before he started out because I was down there for the Eden concert. It was shortly. It was like a month I think before you headed out
Probably, yeah.
ish.
It's like February, right?
Yeah, no, so I mean like I knew more or less what Sean was carrying. The one thing that really got me was when Sean texted me. Like I don't know how long it was in, but I remember you complaining about how much your feet hurt. And
Oh yeah.
I was like, "Well, like how many miles do you have on your shoes?" I don't remember how many miles you said that you had on them, but it was like something stupid. Like I was just like, dude,
Oh.
like you need to change your shoes. Like your shoes are just like beat the snot right now. Like I wear mine like a max like 500 miles. And you were like
Yeah.
well over that. And I was like, yeah, change your fucking shoes.
That was
So do
probably when I
you-
was going through PA. PA is like known for being super rocky. I was
choose
having
your shoes
ultras
up.
on it. Yeah, and I was wearing ultras throughout the whole stretch of PA, which are like pretty thin. Then switched to Hoka's shortly after, just for the nice cushiony bottoms, but, game changer.
Yeah, what do you mean when you say you swap shoes? Do you mean you just go to a shoe store in town and you just like buy new ones, or do you have them like ahead of time and you get them mailed to you? Like what?
Pre-break them in.
Yeah, what's the
Um,
system?
Yeah, I went through 3 shoes. So I like picked one out. They were okay the ones I started with. And then was trying to switch to the Hoka's like 700 miles in. And yeah, just basically went to a shoe store in town, and they were like, "We don't have any of those, but we have some Ultras, which are another like common brand people use."
Mhm.
So I was like, "All right, screw it. Like, I'll give it a try." Turns out like wasn't the shoe for me. But then I like 200 miles into those shoes, so I wasn't ready to like get rid of them. But I went home for a wedding, and just like stopped into REI, like into their garage sale section, found like a cheap pair of Hoka's for like 50% off. I was like, I'll just buy these now and then just have my mom send them to me like when I need them, kind of thing.
Gotcha.
Should have gotten them sent earlier, but
Yeah. I'm sure it's easier than I think it is. But all the mechanics of like getting food, charging your phone, gear stuff, like, is it just going to town for everything and there's town every so many miles?
more or less, yeah. Like you'll hit a town every like 3 to 5 days on average. So that's where you go and resupply on all your food and everything. But you're also like I feel like every time I go to town, it's just a list of chores I have to do. It's like
Right.
shower, charge all my stuff, do laundry, go find something to eat, go buy all my food, in like a half day kind of thing.
So are those fun days or like annoying days?
Bit of both. Like just like the list of chores to do isn't fun, but like getting to shower, sleep in a bed, go out to get a hot meal at a restaurant, like pretty nice.
Yeah.
Forgot what I was gonna ask.
I'm sorry, Dave.
Oh, Sean, before you started, did you think that that towns were gonna be so frequent and so close to the trail?
Well, I'd done like a good amount of research ahead of time.
Okay.
Just kind of seeing like how often you hit a town, how far away are the towns. Some of them you like walk down Main Street of the town.
Yep.
Which is kind of weird, but also pretty cool. But no, I would always kind of like try to plan out the next like 3 or 4 towns ahead of time. Be like, okay,
Okay.
Get to here, and then I'll get 4 days of food or whatever, and then I'll go into this town, and I'll probably end up here, and then
Okay.
and so on. And I had heard that like towns are pretty frequent the whole way.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm assuming you did you have a bunch of like portable chargers or like power banks with you for your phone, or I don't know how much you're burning battery because you're not like doing a whole lot of stuff.
Yeah. I think like I only went through like 40 or 50% of my battery on like a average day. So I pretty much just kept it in airplane mode most of the day and like just turned it off at night. So I started with like one portable charger, and then like halfway through I was just like, screw it, I don't care about the extra like 5 ounces or whatever. I'll get a second portable charger. That way I just like don't have to think about the
Mhm.
like phone battery at all. I could probably go like at least a week with, especially with those two chargers, and you could go longer, if you just don't use your phone as much. But
Right. Okay. Yeah. It's all the mechanics are so interesting. All right. I have one last question before I ask it. Does anybody else have any other things they want to ask Sean?
Oh, jeez.
Put me on the spot.
no pressure.
Because I feel like the last question will cause some strife.
Oh.
Ooh.
All right.
Oh, does Joseph have
I
something?
don't know if I
have
wanna
to come
ask
up
Is
with
he
it.
is he
You don't even have to
delaying
come up with something.
delaying the strife that Jacob is choosing to cause?
Sean, you'd say you're pretty comfortable with us, right?
I would like to think so.
Shit
Oh,
related. I feel like it's gonna be shit
well,
related.
is it shit related or is that sex related?
How often did you masturbate on the trail?
I
Like I'm generally like 5-6 months. I did that November one time.
Also,
I
if
don't
you're
think I
doing
could
it,
do it again.
what materials are you using? Did you have to save some stuff ahead of time?
Oh man,
Hey,
he's
Gabe.
never coming on the podcast again.
I'm
Ever
quitting
again.
right now.
Yeah, he's just gonna leave the call.
I would
You
say
don't
it's
need,
more
like,
of a
exact numbers.
I don't have exact numbers, but it's probably like an in-town activity, I would say,
That's fair.
Okay,
instead
that
of
makes
a
sense.
on the trail activity.
That's believable.
He's not leave no tracing out there walking 50 yards off
Yeah.
trail and then
Digging a
going
cat
behind a
hole.
tree.
Dig 2 cat holes, one for the shit.
Double duty.
Here's my question that I open up to the entire podcast. Who's the better backpacker, Sean or Dayton?
Sean has
Got
more
my
experience. Sean's got more experience than I do.
Dayton's faster and got a lighter pack, so
That's just because Dayton's crazy.
That's true. Dayton is crazy.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, got a few.
Because I mean, Sean, you said that you started like doing weekend trips and stuff with Boy Scouts when you were probably in like middle school.
About
Yeah. So, and Dayton, when did you start backpacking? Was it in New Zealand?
Yeah, I mean, I've camped my entire life, but I didn't start backpacking until New.
So, I mean, by definition, Sean has more years under his belt.
Well, more days too. More days. Like
Well, yes.
through hiking alone is like enough to like blow like any section hiker out of the water.
Well, yes.
But if you can like do like a 4 or 5 day backpacking trip, you can do the whole AT.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you just town to town to town, you'll be fine. So like, I don't know. You spend
But-
more time in the whites. I think that has something to say.
Yeah. But Jacob, it's not a competition, man.
No, I know. That's why
Yes,
I
it
was
is.
asking for. Dayton, your speed is scary though. Like, I want to be very clear.
Yeah, I
Dayton,
mean,
how fast
he-
Dayton goes is frightening.
He also
and
runs ultra
I went Dayton
marathons,
once.
so like,
That's true.
I
Yeah.
hiked with Dayton once, and I couldn't nearly at all keep up. Twice as fast.
I could only keep up because his dad was with us, so Dayton wasn't gonna leave his dad in the dust.
And I
He
left
would have left you in a heartbeat, Joseph. But
I left my trekking poles at home too, so I wasn't going very quick.
Yeah. That one day where it was just us on the Menong, I was like, oh fuck, he's gonna be gone.
Dayton, I'm assuming the answer is no. But do you think you'll do the Appalachian Trail in your future?
No. I think that the only way that I would do it is if I had somebody who would do it with me like unconditionally. So like if they were like, yeah, like I'll go as fast as you want, I'll go as slow as you want. Like it doesn't matter like how fast we're going, like we're doing it together. Just because like the whole mental side of things, like it's like backpacking isn't difficult enough to make me get into like the flow state where like running is. Like I run without music. So like I'm pushing myself hard enough to where like I'm not like actually thinking. It's more just like a flow state sort of deal. But if I'm backpacking, I don't reach that intensity. So I just constantly just like ruminate, and I'm just like thinking about shit that isn't healthy. So I need like somebody to like bounce thoughts off of.
Just make it more difficult and put rocks in your path.
Add some weight.
Dude.
It's a very clear solution.
Joseph, it's funny.
You ultralight to make it easier. Like you do less weight, so it's easier.
Joseph, it's really funny that you say that, because the day that I was like, you know what, like I'm sick and tired of this, you know, this bullshit ruminating thoughts stuff. So I went out and I was like, I'm gonna hold a 4 mile per hour pace, and I don't care the terrain. And I just happened to be hitting like one of like the hillier sections of Vermont, and I was literally just fucking cruising, and I hit over 20 miles by noon. And the person that I passed was actually the friend that I was looking for, but I was like so like zoned in, just like trying to haul ass, that I didn't even realize it was them. And then like after I like stopped at the summit, went up the fire tower, and then I came back down, and then I saw her again. Like, yeah, I thought you were some like, or after I like met her in town and everything, she's like, yeah, I thought you were some nobo that like started like a month ago and is just like doing like 40-mile days. So
Well, Dayton, I'll do the AT with you, but I won't go as fast as you want.
See, and
That's
that's
a deal breaker, Sean.
it's not a deal breaker, because
I'll be right.
I slowed down to hike with people that I wanted to hike with on the Vermont section. Because like if I'm alone, then yeah, I want to go fast. But like if I'm with other people, I'm okay with not going fast, because then it changes from a physical event to a social event for me.
Right.
I don't know. It's just like a weird mental thing for me.
No, I gotcha. I will say, I mean, you never know. Maybe the Appalachian Trail is the place to find your soulmate. I don't know, Sean, if anybody was like meeting people out there, but I feel like
Oh, people met people on the trail.
The people meet each other out there.
Yeah.
All right. Any other things you want to talk about before we go? Any other burning questions?
Now I got all mine out of the way.
Joseph, base weight masturbation. That's all I'm wondering.
These are
about.
thoughts I've had on my trips, so you know.
Well, thanks, Sean, for coming on. Really appreciate it.
Of course.
Yeah, it's super interesting hearing about that stuff. And yeah, definitely wanted to compare with Dayton's stuff, because he's been going all over the place this summer. Yeah, thanks a lot. Yeah, thanks everyone for listening. Again, we post our show the first Monday of every month right now. Don't forget to follow us on social media. Links are in the description below, and tell your friends about our show. But until next time, thanks for listening. Bye.
Bye.